Today in my small group, somebody asked me this question, and they really liked the answer, and I figured that a lot of you may also have this similar question, so I wanted to kind of shed some light on it. Now, in regards to this question, there's really two camps, right? Babies can either go to heaven or they can go to hell. And one camp says, ignorance is innocence and they don't have the cognitive ability to even, know the difference between right and wrong, just like Adam and Eve didn't know the difference between right and wrong, and there was no sin at that time. So they're innocent and they should go to heaven. And the other camp says, hey, like after Adam and Eve, though, we're all born into sin. Like all of us are born sinners. And we have this thing, and, every human being deserves to go to hell. Now, there's truths to both camps, but they can both be dangerous. And the reason for that is if the first camp is true and all babies go to heaven, well, then Christians should suddenly have this mission to just commit mass genocide and kill all babies because they're just going to go to heaven, and that's better than suffering here on this earth, or that's better than living a life where they ultimately deny Christ and end up in hell anyway. So instead of that, shouldn't we just kill all babies and make sure everyone goes to heaven and end the human race? That'd be the Christian thing to do if that were true. Now, the opposite is if all babies go to hell, then that's just extremely depressing. If you were to tell like every person that your baby, like they were born and then like 8 days later in the ICU they passed away, well, they're gonna burn in hellfire for all of eternity. Or if you tell any mother, and there's a lot of mothers that have gone through miscarriages, and you tell them, oh yeah, all those miscarried babies, like they're burning in hell right now and they're gonna burn in hell for all of eternity. So both camps have like really horrifying repercussions. It's either just, yes, let's all commit mass genocide, or like, oh my gosh, this is extremely depressing and how can this be true? And how can God be loving? So for that purpose, I really believe that God does not address this in the Bible intentionally. Because if he says one way or the other, you have these really bad repercussions either way. So for us, it's not for us to know while we're on this earth. We'll find out when we get there. But, I really do believe God leaves these things a mystery because of the repercussions of revealing the truth in these certain in these certain topics. So there are things that God leaves a mystery for us to find out when we get there, because if we know the answer, then yeah, either way it's horrible. So all that to say, do babies go to heaven? Do they go to hell? There's no clear answer, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing that we don't know, and we'll find out when we get there. But I hope that clarifies on why it's good to not know some answers or the answers to some questions that we have, and it's good that we find out later, and it's in God's wisdom to keep that from us. So I hope that sheds some light onto this and will at least get your mind satisfied with this question.